Hi guys, welcome back. We're going to talk about direct proportion graphs today and what they would look like. Okay, so first thing, I want you to look at these three graphs that I have drawn on my paper, and I want you to write on your paper which one you think shows a straight line that passes through the origin. So take a second, pause the video, write that down for me. Okay. Now, when we're talking about the origin, remember that is the point 0, 0. Okay, or this nice little point here. Okay, so I can already see that C does not go through the origin, so it's not C. A and B both go through the origin, but it says a straight line, and B is a straight line, and A is not. It's a curved line. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and look at this next example here. Okay, we have revolutions, X, and distance, Y. So in one revolution, I can go 2 meters. 2 revolutions, I can go 4 meters. 3 revolutions, I can go 6 meters. I'm going to go ahead and plot these points on here, okay? So this is the point 1, 2. So we'll plot the point. So that means I go over 1, up 2, if you've forgotten how to plot points here. And then over 2, up 4. And I'm just going to kind of draw one extra line here at 3, 6. So we'll just go up just a wee bit here, okay, and draw a line. Now I could have counted my graphs by 2, but that was just poor planning on my part. But adding one extra line is not a big deal. Okay. We want to find the constant of proportionality. Well, earlier in this chapter, we would have said, well, I have to do 2 over 1 equals 4 over 2, which equals 6 over 3. And those all equal 2, which is all fine and dandy. But if you were not given this table at all, and just from the graph, what you do is you look at where X is 1. Because remember, constant of proportionality is just when X is one thing. And then you see what the Y value is. Well, here the Y value is 2. So you can use the graph to find the constant of proportionality if you don't have the table, okay? Which we're going to do in some more examples. So I kind of wrote down just the general idea of how you do that. It says use the point 1 comma Y, because we won't know what Y is until we look at the actual graph. But like I said, you just look where X equals 1, okay? And then you find out what the Y value is, and then you plug that value in for K, because that specific value will be your constant of proportionality. Okay? And we'll practice this in the rest of our notes. Also, direct proportion graph must follow these 3 things. It has to be a straight line, it has to go through the origin, and it cannot be perfectly horizontal or perfectly vertical. So just as a reminder, horizontal is like this, vertical is like this. So a direct proportion graph should look something like this. So they'll always start at the origin and go like this. Okay, so that's one type of line. It could look like this. You know, it could be down a little bit further, right? But something of that sort, either the orange, blue, or red line. Doesn't have to look perfectly like that, but it's not going to be like a line like this, or a line like this, or a curved line like we saw earlier. It has to be a straight line through the origin, and it cannot be horizontal or vertical. So you need to remember these 3 things because they are very important for identifying if a graph is a direct proportion or not. All right, so let's just practice identifying them. Okay, so let's look at graph A here. Okay, I want you to go ahead and draw these 3 graphs, so pause the video for a second. And then I want you to write yes or no below all 3 of these. So this is A, B, and C. Okay, so pause the video for a second. So part A, is this a direct proportion? Well, it follows the first thing, it goes through the origin. So part 1, check. Part 2, it's a straight line, that checks. And part 3, it is not horizontal or vertical. So this would be yes, it is a direct proportion graph. Okay. Part 1 here, does it go through the origin? No, because it's starting way up here, right? The origin is here and our line does not go through it. So this is not a direct proportion. Okay. Part C, well, it goes through the origin, so that's a check. Part 2, is it a straight line? It is not a straight line, it's a curve. So this is not a direct proportion graph. Okay? All right, so we're going to talk about Anna. Anna works at a bookstore. The amount of money she earns is directly proportional to the number of hours she works. The graph shows the amount of money, W dollars, she earns in T hours. So you can go ahead and draw this graph. So this is W hours. Oh, not W number. W hours. And this is, I'm sorry, T is time. I apologize. I wrote a W here, but it's really time. And this is W. And that's how much money she's making per hour. Okay? Now we can see that this is a direct proportion. It goes through the origin here. It is a straight line and it's not horizontal or vertical. Okay, so it says find the constant of proportionality of how much, it should say Anna, makes per hour. Now again, we talked about this a minute ago. What do we want to know? How much the constant of proportionality is, because that's how much she makes in 1 hour. We're going to look at where x is 1. Well, where x is 1, y is 15. So my constant of proportionality is 15. So go ahead, now that we know the COP, will you write the equation for me? Now some of you might put y equals 15x. The best answer would be W equals 15 times T, because she's making $15 per hour, so we would take 15 times the number of hours to get our total cost. Okay? What does the point 230 represent? So we have this point on this line here, and it's 230. Well, again, we can read our labels, right? So 2 means 2 hours, $30. So that means in 2 hours, she makes $30. Okay? So in your homework today, it's going to ask you what a point represents. Look at the labels of the axes. Okay? Now this one says if Anna, apparently I really screwed up my names that day when I typed these notes. If Anna works for 4 hours, how much is she going to earn? Well, hours is right here. So I'm going to look at 4 hours and go over and say, well, it's 60. She's going to make $60. Or you could have said, well, I know she makes $15 an hour. 15 times 4 is 60. I'm fine with either. You can use the graph to help you find that information, or you can use the equation. Either one works. Okay? Now this one, it says Anna earns $45. How long did she work? So we can go backwards. We can look at like 45 and be like, oh, that's like the X value, which is 3 hours. Or you could be like, Miss Hawes, I know she earns $15 an hour. 45 divided by 15 is 3. And we can get it that way using the equation. Either way is fine. Okay? I hope this video finds you well, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.